God is in your mind frame, bro. It's right and
It's
wrong.
not, you can say it's in your mind frame just like Santa Claus and Superman. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about in the real world, right? So yeah, you can have anything you want to have in your mind frame, bro. Like I said, people got all types of mental issues, bro. We're not talking about that. We talking about in the real world, you ain't never gonna see no devil nowhere, in no hellfire with no demons tormenting people, right? So if you want to make it into poetry and mythology and enjoy yourself and entertain yourself, bro, you're free to do whatever you want to do with that information. I'm just saying that it doesn't exist in the real world. It's just a bunch of stories that people tell themselves.
Okay, so then your problem is religion.
Whether it's religion or not, I'm just telling you that it's not real.
But
Even if someone is not religious and they tell you that the devil is
okay,
real, they're lying to you.
okay, so you're the one who's going to tell everybody what's not real to them.
Of course, as long
How
as it's
come?
consistent with
What?
a reality that's independent, because reality is not subjective. Reality is objective. For example, if rain is falling, just because you don't believe that the rain is falling on you doesn't mean that we can't see that the rain is falling on you. You know what I'm saying? If rain is falling on you and rain is falling on everybody, you can make up
Apples and
whatever you want to make
oranges.
up in your head.
Apples and oranges.
No, it's not apple and
We're,
oranges,
we're,
bro. If
we're
me and you
talking
on the football
we're
field,
talking
bro,
about things that we're talking
check
about
this out.
things
Check
that
this out. Check this out, bro.
you're talking about things that are tangible that you
If
can see,
me
feel,
and
and
you
touch.
are on
But
the
we're talking
basketball field,
but
right?
good and evil. Listen,
Bro,
man.
check this out. Hold up, Judah. Come on. If me and you are on the football field
Oh, brother.
and the rain begins to fall, you have a belief in your mind that the rain is not falling on you. So in your mind frame, you have this reality that the rain is not falling on you. In my mind frame, I said, no, the rain is falling on me and everybody. But the reality is that the rain is falling, regardless of what's in my mind frame and what's in your mind frame. So I just have the ability to see reality as it is before I then go into my mind frame to make up whatever I want to make up. You just don't have the ability to see reality as it is. So you live in your mind frame. So you don't mess around and said flood and you don't think it's gonna affect you, right? Then you catch a cold or whatever comes with the rain. So I'm not telling you not to make up stuff in your head. I'm not arguing against like the cuckoo gaga in people's heads, bro. If that's your point, like mind frame and stuff like that. Nah, I'm talking about in the real world. So it's not about tangibility or non-tangible things. Things that are not tangible are not real in the real world. That's why in the real world, we call it physics, right? There is a physical reaction to anything that is real in the real world, that is within space, time, and matter. Concepts that human beings make up in their heads is a combination of ideas that do have the ability to manifest themselves. And when they manifest themselves, they do it physically, making themselves real. And you have ideas that are purely fictional, things that people make up in their heads for entertainment purposes. That's the difference, man. I'm just telling you that the devil is a made-up story, just like Santa Claus. You don't need to make it anything more than that.
All it is, all the devil and God is the things that are in your mind that can manifest the physicality.
No, sir, that's not what
Yes,
it is.
hold on,
Wrong.
man. Let me talk now. You talked. So
Bruh,
let's say that the
like I
devil
said,
is
you
just,
wrong, bro.
bro, man. Come on, man. So let's say the devil is evil and God is good. You mean to tell me that people can't do evil or bad? Let's say good and
That
bad.
is not the
Bro,
definition of the
man, let
devil
me
and God
talk,
that we are
man.
talking about.
How you
Bro,
gonna bring
no.
me up on stage and not let
I'm
me
sorry,
talk?
bro. I'm sorry, bro, because I told you not to come and repeat what I'm already saying,
I'm not.
right?
I don't know what
Okay,
you
good.
said, man. So how am
So,
I going to
so
repeat
listen,
something you said if I never heard you?
bro.
Now
I said
that's
the devil is
reality,
not real, and I told you the devil
man.
that I'm
It
talking
doesn't.
about.
But that's your mind frame telling somebody. Are
Bro,
you the
it's
only
not my
mind
mind
frame on
frame.
this
It is
earth?
literally English language, bro.
Man, you don't invite me no more if you ain't gonna let me talk,
Bro, then
man.
leave. Then leave, bro. Like, bro,
I
like
am
you
gonna
said
leave. Don't invite
before.
me no more, bitch.
Well, you see your behavior. Listen, y'all. I don't care what your subjective perspective is. I have defined what I mean by the devil. I don't care what you want to talk about. If you're not going to stick to my topic within the boundaries that I have set, don't come up. I am not compelled to yield myself to your will if you will not yield yourself to my will. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, if you don't want to come up on my program, you're not forced to be here. No one is compelled to be here. There is not a single rule or law that says you have to be here. Your imagination. Look. I don't care. You can call somebody Superman, right? Because they're strong. So in their head, they believe they're Superman. Dwight Howard thought he was Superman. But we know that Dwight Howard is not Superman. I'm not talking about role play. People are not devils. People are not gods. Human beings are not gods or devil. No matter what a human being do, a human being is not a devil. A human being is a person, a biological being that has personality and behavior. Within the religious frame of the Abrahamic religions, especially, and some Eastern religions, devils are defined as their own independent beings that have their own independent minds. Be it as it may, they do possess the ability to possess human beings, but they are still separate entities from the human beings that they possess, right? That's the devils we are talking about. We're not talking about your poetic definition of what you think it is. If that's what you think in your head, good for you. Don't come up here and argue with me about some stuff like that. There's no such thing as a devil in the human world. There's no such thing as the devil in the human world. It's a fictional idea. I insist, it's a fictional idea. It's like Santa Claus and the elves. Devils are like elves. They don't exist. Hello? 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 I guess user, you're not up, so I'll go on to the next guest. Tap the screen, y'all. Tap the screen. Come on. Some of you want to live in your fantasies. What's up, Coltrane? Hold up. What's going on? Hello? Bro, what's up, man? All right, next guest. What's up, man?
What's up, man?
What you got for me? Go straight to your point.
I got you. Okay, so I think that, yes, the devil is not who people say he is in biblical terms, but the devil is an actual physical being that exists.
False.
No, it's absolutely true. I can prove it. It is a being, an extraterrestrial being that exists.
Bro, an extraterrestrial being is not the devil.
Sure it is.
No.
I can prove. Well, let me go ahead and explain it. Okay. So, are you familiar with Enki and Enlil?
I'm familiar with that mythology. Yes.
Okay. So, see, you think it's mythology? Okay.
No, I don't think it's mythology. I know it's mythology.
No. Absolutely. But anywho, I will say that
is Sumerian mythology, bro.
So are you saying the Sumerians never existed?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying they had a mythology. So they had they had their own versions of Superman and Batman, bro. They had their own version. So that's what you're talking about.
Okay, so why was this the same story repeated through the Egyptians and all these other civilizations? Because the Emerald. Have you ever read the Emerald tablets or the Enuma Elish?
Every civilization got its own version of mythology, bro.
Okay, let's see. You believe it to be mythology, my friend.
It's not good in the ear, bro. Stop eating while you're talking.
You believe it to be mythology, which is the problem that you have here.
That's the definition of those specific, that genre of information is considered mythology.
It absolutely is not. Some people would say it's pseudoscience. Some people, like you, may say it's mythology. Some people accept it as it was what it was.
It is discovered and presented to the world as mythology. I did not make it up. It's called Sumerian mythology, bro.
Okay, so with that being said, if you were to do the actual research and see that these beings and the extra, I'm quite sure you dismissed it as mythology when you came across it. You were just like, oh, that's what it is. It's mythology because some white dude told me it was mythology. You accept whatever they tell you.
Bro, listen, okay. Let me put down something for you, okay?
Sure, go right ahead.
There is a reason why you have a brain of your own, okay, bro? There is a reason why you don't try to understand ancient civilizations until you understand our civilization and the way our civilization is structured. You have to understand the pillars of our civilizations and the structures put in place to govern the people. You have to understand how information is dispensed and the reason why there's different categories of information. Within the political frame of things, politics work in a specific way. Today, politics is not governed by religion directly.
Hey, you dancing around the subject, man. The point of this situation is that you believe it's
Next guest. If you don't want to listen, bro, you can get off. You don't have to be here. We live in a society today where we literally have comics. We have comic books. We have comic books. We have entertainment in all types of ways. All civilizations have entertainment. Y'all don't know the difference between the entertainment of the ancient civilizations from what was real history. All religions was like our Superman, like the way we got Superman and Batman. Like if we don't transmit history properly, 2,000 years from now, they're going to think that we worship Superman. They're going to think that we worship Batman. Because literally we build theaters, we build temples. Like literally people go to Comic Cons and dress like Superman. Like it's all over. Like they would think we worship sports. You know what I'm saying? But it's just our form of entertainment. Every civilization got it. Today you go around all across America, all across the world, you got a bunch of stadiums, right? People build stadiums for sports and entertainment. Just like you see the old temples and the old stadiums, the coliseums of old. That is how empires are built. There is no literal devil. Like there's no literal devil or no literal God. And every time someone wants to promote that idea, they're just going to be telling you a bunch of stories. What's up, man?
I'm so glad you said that. I'm so glad.
What's up?
Go straight to your point, bro. What you got?
I'm trying to believe everything what you're saying.
You don't need to believe, bro. Just understand. If you understand, you will see it all for yourself.
That's true. That's true. That's true. And the language, when you said there's a lot of language, and they said there's a lot of language, I try to believe that also. Everybody talking about this English language. I try to believe that there's so many languages, not just this one language, English. You know?
Thank you so much for your time, bro. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I've been listening.
Come on, go straight to your point, brothers and sisters. I ain't got time. Listen, if you don't want to be in my live show, just scroll through, okay? If you want to report my life, do it. Do it if that's what makes you happy. But ask yourself why you're so wicked. If you don't like something, why don't you just remove yourself? What does that say about you? Look at yourself in the mirror. You come on the internet, bro, you could scroll through. You can go anywhere you want to. You guys are sitting here being offended. No one is forcing you to be here. You can just scroll through. Literally, just scroll through.
Brother Banga, thank you for letting me into your live to speak. Your topic is, you said the devil does not exist.
Yes,
you know what? I think that is a hard pill to swallow for those in America, because like you said, I mean, we've like been a part of a fictitious landscape that has really run the course of years of our lives on this earth. and we've seen what amounts to some of the most horrendous acts. And it's hard not to think that a spirit or something possessed that, but like you said, that could be mental health. And we just never knew, back in the day, we didn't reassess it. So now
people have turned the entities in their nightmares into literal entities, right? Like they have personified their nightmare. In poetry, there is something called personification. When you take human-like qualities and attribute it to something which is not human. So the devil, by making the devil a person, you are literally taking personification. You're personifying your fears. And the same thing is true for their hopes. They personify their hopes. So they imagine this God with absolute power, right? And it's two extremes. Anytime you have an idea, right, that is two extremes, you know that someone is confused. Literally. And the only problem that we have today is that these ideas of God and the devil were institutionalized. They were part of the institutions on how they govern people. Because in that time, technology wasn't as advanced as it is today. So governments needed to keep people in a perpetual state of fear. And the governments had to have the ability to give you hope and take away the hope. Today, the way they do it, there's all types of conspiracy theories, right? Inside jobs or not inside jobs, whether the CV that we just had in 2020 was real or not. But there's different ways of controlling people. Hence, I tell people, in order to understand what we get from the ancient world, you first and foremostly have to understand how the world works today. Look at the role that Christianity plays in the American system. Do you know why religious organizations don't pay taxes? Because they are literally a government agency. The government knows that they can use religion to program the minds of the people. The same thing is true in Iran, right? It's a theocracy. Islam rules over there. The same thing is true in Saudi Arabia. And they are finding a way to keep religion relevant in an age where technology is improving. And I could literally be on here talking to people from all around the world. You know what I'm saying? Those entities called devils and gods are fictional. They are the characters of the fictional comic of the ancient people. They used to make up stuff just like us. In fact, they had more reasons to make up stuff because they didn't really have much to do. Life was miserable back then. So
well,
they had
that's the thing about it. It's hard for people who have not taken the time to learn of their history or how to, how the world runs today, to see it any other way because it's so ingrained. It's like in their DNA, and it's called cognitive dissonance. It's like, it's like they can't release that because now, you got technology. I mean, you can at your hand, you can literally, in the speed of light, text somebody from across the world. Or now you even have, I don't know if this is real or not. I'm still trying to figure this out, but help me. I see these YouTube videos where people are wearing these Harry Potter cloaks, and so just imagine if you got people in the street or people who have that access to that kind of technology. I mean, and I'm throwing it out there because I'm looking at these videos and they look pretty real to me, okay? Where somebody is covering themselves.
In the world of Harry Potter, in the world of Harry Potter, like something like a wand is electromagnetism, right? So in the future, we might have some instruments and tools like that you can literally electromagnetically. It's like a remote control. Like,
well, you mean like become invisible in terms of, like covering yourself? It's like the cloak. I don't know if you've seen the movie.
It's called cloaking. It's part of camouflage technology. So in the future,
it's a cloak. Right.
Those things that we cook up in our imagination, we could easily, that stuff inspires people to try to develop technologies to match people's fantasies, right? For example, flying.
And our governments are using it on our people now to make it appear that, there's like, they're trying to up the game to how to control the minds in a sense, because what if that is like literally technology that's running rapid in streets and in governments and they know about it? I don't want to sound like a conspiratist, but
it's good for them if they know about it. What's good for you is, do you know about it, right? Like, think about it. There used to be an age where being able to read and write, like just basic reading and writing, would set you apart from most people in society. And if you couldn't even read and write at all, you were considered illiterate. Now, we live in a generation where Even if you can read and write, you can still be illiterate if you don't understand the basic technologies that govern our world. So yes, if you're a person who doesn't understand how the internet works, like for real, if you don't know exactly how the internet works, you're illiterate. If you don't understand how governments work, you're illiterate. If you don't understand how entertainment works, you're illiterate. So you need to literarise yourself, like literature, like you need to read up, you need to study the world around you and have a solid understanding. Then, and only then, would you have the ability to properly operate within the system. That's just how it works. If you're always there, not educating yourself, of course, anything you can't understand, you're gonna mystify it. You're gonna turn into something mysterious. Oh, it's aliens. Bro, half the UFOs in the sky is probably a bunch of secret government technological things. I mean, our government has a good reason to not publicize most of the stuff that they discover, right? If the government was able to invent an airplane that could hover, why would they advertise it to the public? That takes away the element of surprise against other nations. So of course, if you see a UFO in the sky or anything, there's many reasons that it could be if you simply just think. But if you're the type of person that every time you see something you can't understand, oh, it's God, it's the devil.
Yeah. And that's where we're at. And that's where we're at because it's hard for people to make that transition. It's, it's like being inundated with so much information all at the same time where all life is happening too. It's a lot going on. So I sympathize with a lot of, where it's hard to I don't know, to like re-educate or to reassess where we need to go for the future. 2024 is here and the gap between our children and our elders is vast. And closing that gap, with what they know and what they understand, what's practical and what's usable in this day and age is really going to be, it's going to be something that we got to really look at how to decipher. So
thank you so much for your time, my sister. I appreciate you. Okay.
Thank you for having me up. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next guest. This was good. Go straight to your point when you come up. The devil does not exist. If you think the devil exists, come up here and prove it. Prove to me that the devil exists.
I didn't have proof that the devil exists. I have proof of things that need to be discussed, though.
Hit the like button, ladies and gentlemen. Why are we not yet at 100,000 likes? Come on, y'all. Let's keep this going. What's up,
I wanted to put this out there. If you believe in God and he gave you, he loves you and you're supposed to be in his image and likeness. The story that's told is that he sacrificed his son so that would save us all from what is called sin. That right there details that, number one, the God you believe in created an evil entity or an evil enemy for him to have an adversary. That doesn't sound right. And then he sacrificed his son to this entity in order to save us from sin, as if the entity was stronger than him, that he couldn't just defeat it by his own word frequency, which means that's a blood sacrifice. I mean, pay attention to what you're saying, to what they're giving you. That's not right. It's not right. And then the second part is the Roman Catholic Church, which holds all the books to the Bible. There are books that are missing. There are books that are not entailed. Where is Jesus' book? Where is Judas' book? Where are all the books that are missing? There's too much that's missing. And this book was rewritten from the ancient Kemetic sciences.
Those were all a bunch of comic books. They simply assembled the ones that worked for them so they could push their agendas of control. Right?
And the Catholic Church has already admitted that the Bible was used as an agenda of deception and control to control a certain class and groups of people throughout centuries. So, I mean, you have to look over that and do your research and do your homework and get a clear understanding.
Thank you very much for your time, my bro. I appreciate you.
How you doing, brother?
What's up, man? What you got?
Just wondering, have you ever heard of the author Napoleon Hill?
Not really.
Not really? Can I recommend that you go on YouTube and listen to his audible called Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill? It's basically...
I've heard that, where he says, if I was the devil.
Nah, that's not the right one. Outwitting the Devil is an interview with the devil that Napoleon had gone through. You're basically you're a living proof of what Satan wants. He doesn't want you to believe in him. He prefer you not believe in him.
You see, that would be true if only I did not possess logic. If I was Satan, I would want people to believe in me, because Satan naturally strikes fear into people's minds. And fear is a more effective way to control the nations. There's no reason why the devil will want to be shrouded in ignorance. The devil will want to exist. Think about it, bro. What makes people fear the United States of America? It's not because America doesn't exist. It's because America has the ability to destroy entire nations. He has the power to literally eliminate you regardless of who you are. So if I was a devil, why would I want to remain in a mystery? Like, my presence.
That's true. Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question to battle? Can I ask you a question to battle your logic?
Sure.
Would a thief want the owners to know that a thief is coming into the home to steal, or would they want to be deceitful and quiet?
Of course, a thief would not want the owner to know, but the devil is not a thief.
All right, stop there for a second. Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
No. The devil is not a thief.
If he's not a thief, then why doesn't he exist? You're calling him a thief like he does exist. You're contradicting yourself.
I'll put it for you this way, right? The idea of the devil is not the descriptions of the devil are not the characteristics of a thief. They are the characteristics of someone who is an invader, someone who has
my brother, real quickly,
someone that has significantly more power than you, bro.
I understand, but real quickly, your title of your video says the devil does not exist. So how can you have an opinion on him if he does not exist?
Because it's a fictional character, just like Superman, bro. What are you talking about?
So we're here talking about superheroes,
bro. I am talking to you from a context of Abrahamic mythology. Yes,
and that's your logic. Your logic is the context that we're talking about a fictional character, nothing real.
I cannot be deceitful towards myself. I know that
you don't need to be deceitful to yourself. The devil will do that for you. The devil will do it for you. You don't need to do anything. Your logic cannot outstand the knowledge of the devil. He is smarter, he is cunning, he is deceitful.
What mythology? The Islam version of the devil, Shaitan, or Satan, Lucifer, according to the Christian version, or according to the Buddhist version of the devil, or according to the Hindu version of the devil. You realize that every religion has a version of the devil, and they all have disputing characteristics.
I wonder why that would be, though. Why does every version of every religion have a picture and image of what a devil is? Why?
The fundamental structure of religion, right? The personification of people's fears is a good element of control.
Right. Can I ask you a question? I'm wondering if you would know. What is the primary sin that got the devil pushed out of heaven?
Pride.
Right. And what is pride?
Pride is simply being aware of one's own self and valuing
one's self. No, definitely not. Pride is that's not it at all.
Let me finish. Pride is being aware of one's own self and valuing one's own self above all things and all persons.
Okay. Pride is a feeling of deep pleasure or satisfaction derived from one's own achievements, the achievements of those whom one is closely associated, or qualities or possessions that are widely admired. It's consciousness of one's own dignity and to be proud and arrogant. Fulfillment, gratification, delight, and joy in what you believe you know.
Like I said, in a nutshell, it is being aware of one's own self and valuing one's own self above all things and all persons. That's a good paraphrasing of it. You did not say anything that contradicts what I just said. So what? I'm arrogant. Is it bad for me to be arrogant? Arrogance is a matter of perspective.
Correct,
because
it is.
You think I'm arrogant doesn't make me arrogant.
Is a humble person arrogant?
There's no reason for a powerful person to be humble.
Are you serious?
Humility is for the weak. Yes, bro. If there's no
humility is for the weak.
Yes. Let me give you proof, bro. Does God humble himself?
God is very humble. God is very humble.
Okay, then God ought to do what I said to do for him to do. If he's humble enough, let him do what I said to do. Let him come here right now. Is he humble enough to come here right now?
Jesus never leaves you nor forsakes you, so he is there. Yes.
No, I want him to come here.
You want him in a physical sense.
In every sense as it is common to men, so we would experience him as men experience other entities, like without no mystery. Let him humble himself and come here right now in this live show.
See, but he doesn't work on your own accord. So if you want the devil to show up, he can. If you want the devil to show up, all you have to do is do an Ouija board. You'll see his ancestors, bro. You'll see his workers.
That's all fictitious BS, bro. Listen. You said God can humble himself. Can he humble himself enough to pull up right here, right now? at my demand? Or is he too prideful? Does he think he's better than me? Of course he thinks he's better than me. Of course he won't listen if he's real. So guess what? The devil could not have been prideful unless the one who made him was a prideful being.
You're using intelligence and logic over well, I don't know the specific word, but you can't use your intelligence and logic won't come to the same level of God's understanding. It says, do not lean on your own understanding for a reason, because your understanding is obsolete compared to what God is. He's above what you're thinking.
That advice that you just gave, bro, is a very good advice from a slave master to a slave. A slave master would tell his slaves, don't lean on your own understanding. Because guess what? If a slave who leans on his own understanding will soon realize that he has no reason to be a slave, will soon realize that he has the ability to free himself. But to remain in that state of slavery and servitude, your slave master would really love that you don't rely on your own understanding. So he can control you without no hesitation and without no retaliation.
So back to I want to go back to Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. So this book was written in 1937. It was held in a vault for 70 years. It was not allowed out due to the knowledge that it withheld. I would highly recommend that you take time to read the Audible to listen to the Audible.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I've actually listened to it before.
Have you though? Are you sure?
Yeah, I have.
Okay. Well, I don't believe everything everyone says, but I hope you have. And if there's nothing wrong with...
I have listened to the conversation of that guy from the 50s. He has a 50s accent, and he is having a conversation with the devil. Actually, the video of the guy who was reading the book on YouTube, I've listened to it before. And the devil tells him all his strategies on how he controls the world. And he asks the devil all these questions, and the devil is quite open with him, right? But guess what? That is government. That is how the government works. That's literally how the fictional idea of the devil was used in the government institutions of the past that were ruled by kings who used to appeal to supreme authority to keep people subject to them.
So where does all the evil come from in the world? Where is it?
Evil is literally disagreement. So when you do something that I don't like, I would then label it evil. But evil is not really absolute, because evil from one man's perspective could be good from another man's perspective. And it's not absolute. It's just a matter of survival, well-being. Was it evil for the Europeans to go to Africa and take their resources in order to make sure that the Europeans, women and children can live and they can build a civilization for themselves? It's only evil from the African perspective, not from the European perspective. Because
is it evil when a child is it easy when a child gets murdered, or is it evil when a child gets sick?
From that child's perspective, it is. But from the broad perspective, it's just unfortunate.
It's just unfortunate.
Yes, from the objective perspective, it is unfortunate. From the subjective perspective, it is evil for that child, yes. Because it's how the victim would always consider what has happened as evil, and the victor would always consider it as good. You understand? That's just how the world works. Like, is it evil for a lion to eat a gazelle? No, it's evil from the perspective of the gazelle, but from the lion, he has no choice. He has to eat. He doesn't eat grass. You know what I'm saying?
That's the law of nature.
Huh?
That's the law of nature. We are all governed by law.
So are we. That's what I'm saying. Evil is not absolute. Like, it's not absolute. Like, it's not. Is it evil to kill a fly? No. From the fly's perspective, it is evil. But from your perspective, you're gonna be the best. You know?
Is it evil to kill a fly? Yeah. That's great.
Is it?
No, it's not. I hate them.
No, you see, because you're not a fly. If you were a fly, you would absolutely not want to be killed by a human being.
Interesting. I like hearing other people's perspectives. I have nothing against it. You can believe what you believe in. That's what God's given you free will.
I don't believe in anything. I am here to dismantle religion.
So are you agnostic or are you atheist?
No, I'm a realist. I don't participate in theism or anti-theism, because those are two sides of the same coin. I completely remove myself from the equation. I see the world as it is, and I simply state it as it is, and so you cannot argue with me. If you're going to argue with me, you might as well argue with reality. I prefer to be a realist. I don't need to form opinions about things that will be true regardless of my opinion.
How old are you?
There's no devil.
How old are you?
I'm 30 years old.
You're 30?
Yes.
Jesus, brother. That's good, man. That's good. You still got a lot of life ahead of you. I pray that God will reveal himself to you, mate.
It's not guaranteed, and I'm not deluded as to that fact.
That's all right.
This breath that my body pumps could cease at any time, and that's fine by me.
Yeah, correct. All right, you have yourself a good one, brother. I'll let someone else in.
Facts. You
Later,
didn't
brother.
prove the devil exists, unfortunately.
You can't argue with stupid, man. It's all good.
Hey, that's the only thing you can do because guess what? You have no points. You have no facts. You have no logics, brother. But I get it, man. It's all good. I would help you free yourself from that.
Nah, I'm good, brother. I'll always believe in the Lord Jesus Christ, brother. God bless.
What's up, man? Go straight to your point.
What's going on? So, my point is kind of like a hybrid point. Can you hear me?
I'm hearing you.
Okay, my point is kind of like a hybrid point. And I just kind of wanted to point out the last caller's tone, his overall tone, and then, you click at his page and you see his his appearance. And what I personally think that a lot of people who like us that call ourselves realists have to stop doing is kind of playing the middle and being so, how would I say, inviting and welcoming to these people. Because if I was a person who looked like the last caller, I would believe in Jesus Christ too. Because like you said, did the Europeans think that it was wrong to go and pillage Africa and do what they did to Africa? Of course not, because on their side of the fence, evil and good is not comparable to evil and good on our side of the fence. So,
Right.
I appreciate the intellectual conversation that you're able to have with these different people of all these different backgrounds. But I think people that look like us, like that brother that came up here earlier and had a meltdown and called you the B word and all that because he wasn't able to come up here and whine and complain and hold Jesus's garments, hold the hem of his garments while he walks. Like, to me, I think that like you said, there is a type of bad and good energy, but is there a Satan? Nah, bro, it's all comparable to different things. Like when the lion eats the gazelle, when the volcano erupts and burns everything to ash on the land. There's all different types of things that we can, comparatively say are good and evil. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of these people that look like that last caller and some of our brothers, it kind of incentivizes them to believe in Jesus. So,
Hence I said, in order to understand all these religious stories and the mythologies and the history, you have to have a solid understanding of how the world works today. Governments, all the institutions of governments, religion, all the institutions of religions, countries, boundaries, continents. You have to have an in-depth understanding of all of it. Yeah, Coco, I made you a moderator. Help me out. You know what I'm saying, bro? And people, you realize, bro, that people who believe in the Abrahamic religions, especially, bro, they usually don't know how the world works, bro. Because they're trying to make our world work as though they're trying to make our world match like a bunch of BS that was written in books. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. And they have a very weak grip of their
It's
emotions.
the mark of the beast. Literally.
Facts.
Anytime that we have some type of crisis, they're freaking out as though their Bible doesn't give them externality. The Bible says that there's a bunch of shit that's supposed to happen in order. And yet, I still have people come here and tell me the Euphrates River is drying up. That means that it's the end time, bro. They didn't even read all the things that are supposed to happen before the Euphrates River dries up. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah. It's easy for them to kind of cast everything on an unseen entity and say that people are doing the things that they're doing because of the devil and they're doing the things that they're doing because of evil, because it's much easier for them to accept that within their logic. You get what I'm saying? So like, if you can pawn everything off on this unforeseen force that's omnipotent, omniscient, can build a world in 7 days, all that shit, we might as well pawn it off on them. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, bro, like I don't disagree with damn near everything you say, but I do think that we need to light more fire under these niggas' asses, bro, because they come up here and they have this Roman Catholic kind of delusion of grandeur that they're better than everybody and that their opinion is worth more than your opinion and it's more valuable. And, anytime that you notice how when you were stating the fact, he was like, wait, stop. What verifiable sources do you have that I don't have, sir?
Right. Right. What access?
Like,
You don't have any access. You see, that's what they don't realize, right? And that's why when I came out of Christianity, bro, I did not come out of Christianity due to some type of emotional. No, I studied my way out of it. And I like to call myself a graduate. When you study
bro.
Christianity and you get a complete understanding, you learn that it's all BS. At the end of the day, it's literally just a bunch of stories.
Bro, I went through some of the worst things that I've ever went through spiritually in my life under that system, bro. On my, like, I wouldn't lie to you. I just lost my father and my grandma last year, and I was able to kind of know how to, you know, I still don't really know how to cope with it, but I'm able to cope with it because now I'm thinking more logically, and I'm not just on my knees for 6-7 hours crying to somebody that, yo, can't hear me, bro. That shit is mentally, for you to relearn the shit that shit teaches you. It's a breaking process. A lot of people can't handle that process, so it's easier for them to continue believing in this shit.
It's fear, bro. What happens when a person is in despair? They fear anything that they cannot control, and then they imagine something above themselves doing all the work necessary to relieve them from their despair, right? Most religious people suffer from three things that I've noticed: hopelessness, anxiety, and some form of delusional paranoia. What they've done is that they've institutionalized it. Like I said, they've made it legal. They've made it legal to pretend that shit that ain't real is real. Thank you for your time, my brother. I appreciate
Hey,
you.
let me let you go ahead on, bro. Go ahead and keep cooking, bro. I had to, you know, I be in here a lot, but I had to come up here because they love to come and ask you, well, what do you believe in? It don't matter what I believe in, nigga. The fuck? All right, bro. Let me go ahead and get up out of here, B.
Ladies and gentlemen, hit that like button. Hit that like button. Why are we not yet at 100,000 likes? Come on. Get there. The devil does not exist. The devil has never existed. You are tormenting yourself for no reason, believing that there is some entity out there that's gonna punish you or make your life miserable. Get up from sleep. It's about time, y'all. Get up from sleep, people. Get up from sleep. Stop living your life afraid of fictional characters. A bunch of comic book characters.
Hello, Bakanga.
What's up, man? Go straight to your point, bro.
Yeah, I just want to ask a question. My question is,
Tap the screen, tap the screen, tap the screen, y'all.
how do you think this Abraham and all this Bible and Quran? How do you think there are some verses in the Bible that says the earth is circle, that the earth is suspended upon nothing, all those kind of things. How do you think they get to know? The people that wrote the Bible, how did they get to know about
Bro, let me ask you
stuff
a
like
question.
this?
Have you ever seen the earth suspended on nothing?
No. But there are
Okay.
some things in the Bible that,
That's just poetry. Have you ever experienced the earth being suspended on nothing?
no, I'm just saying, I'm not sure of what I'm saying, but I'm just trying to let you, there are some things that the Bible says that we know for sure that
This is what I'm putting for you.
technology-wise,
This is what I'm putting down for you.
okay.
Whatever you read in a book, if it's not consistent with the reality that you're living, you're not compelled to believe it. You can educate yourself. Like when you go to school and they teach you, you're not supposed to believe everything they teach you in school. You're supposed to think critically with your own brain and establish what's real and what's not real. So yeah, you can read anything in the Bible. If it's not consistent with day-to-day reality, if it's not experimentable, then it's most likely just a story.
Okay, for example, now, in the Bible, it is written somewhere that the earth is circle. And we know for sure now that the earth is circle, right? How would they have known by then that...
I have never experienced the earth as a circle. And it's not, listen, bro, it's not strange, even if they knew, right? Even if they knew that the earth was a circle. Have you never read Superman? How does Superman know that there's life on other planets? Have you never watched Iron Man? How did Iron Man know that you can build machines, flying jets that can go like at the speed of sound? How did they know that? Bro, fictional books are written with certain elements of what might be realistic, but it doesn't make it true. It's still fictional. How did Romeo and Juliet manage to get to Italy? Have you never read Romeo and Juliet? It happened in Italy. Are you saying that Italy does not exist? No, that's not what we're saying. But we understand the genre of the writing. You need to understand there's different forms of writing. The Bible is written as a book of poetry. It's poetry. And in poetry, you're allowed to use figures of speech. With figures of speech, things are not real. You can exaggerate. There's many hyperbole, synonyms, similes, antonyms, personification. There's many elements. That's why you should educate yourself, bro. English is a language that has a formal way of being spoken. You need to understand how to formally speak English. Most people spend their whole life speaking slang, so they don't even understand basic English, when they read books.
Okay. I just feel like technology-wise, then there's no way they would have even predict or forecast some things like that.
Nah, it's not far. It's not logically impossible. Because we don't yet understand exactly how the pyramids were built. So we don't understand what could have happened to previous human civilization. They could have had advanced forms of science like we do today. It's not far-fetched to think that. It's not far-fetched at all.
That's true.
Thank you for your time, though, brother. I appreciate you.
All right, no problem.
Hit the like button, ladies and gentlemen. The devil does not exist. They have been lying to you your whole life. You're running away from an imaginary boogeyman. What's up, man? What you got for me?
Brother Bakanga, I appreciate you, fam.
You're welcome.
It's like Dr. Ben said, have you ever had people tell you there's God, or God tell you there's people? People have always told us there's God and the devil. And you remember in older movies, they would say if there was a decision you had to make, there was a God on one side or a devil and an angel on one side.
Exactly. So, like I said,
in our minds, it exists.
It's poetic. It's poetic, right? For example, Democrat and Republican, right? If you're a Republican, literally,
right,
the most extreme Republicans see Democrats as bad people, and vice versa. They're caught between this idea that Americans are supposed to be split between two extremes. Do you really think that the US system of government was made unintentionally? They understand why they only have a two-party system. When you have a two-party system, it's easy to divide people, okay? You really think that there's no way for someone who's not Republican or Democrat to rise up to power? There's many ways, but the system will not allow it because it makes when you have too much diversity of opinions at the highest level, people become difficult to control. That is why Abrahamic religions insist that there's only one God, because if there were many gods, then it would be difficult to control people. You know what I'm saying? So by saying that there's only one God, then you can force people to either go left or force them to either go right. You take away their critical thinking. You know what I'm saying?
Right. My way is the way.
Right.
The people in power don't believe any of this.
If I have military power, I can impose it on you. And that's exactly how the Abrahamic religions rose to fame. Listen, bro, nobody, no civilization or no country, no group of people ever became Christian or Muslim simply by conversion. It was always due to the fear of military takeover. Muslims like to argue this, but listen, Muslims had a policy and the news will spread very fast. If you convert to Islam, the Muslims will consider you your brother and they will not pillage and destroy you. So a lot of people converted out of fear. Out of fear. The same thing is true with Christianity. But we live in 2023 where they can no longer do that to people.
True indeed.
So when we come and we say, we live in 2024, my bad, I'm going back in time. But you know what I'm saying? But now, nobody can force you using military power to believe in their religion.
Right.
But do you want to know what they use military power to force on people these days? Democracy. That's what the Western world is doing. The Western world literally uses its military power as an agent of democracy, right? So if you give the people and the illusion of democracy, all you have to do is control the leaders of those countries. Look at third world countries. You cannot control third world countries if they were ruled by kings. You only control them if they're ruled by elected leaders. So as long as you can rig the system and install your own leaders, then you have easy control. It's all about control. It's all about control. And to a certain extent, it's reasonable that people do need to be controlled to a certain extent. To a certain extent. To avoid conflict. It's a compromise.
Right.
Unfortunately, it's the great compromise, right? When me and you come together for us to coexist, I will have to put some compromise on the table, and you're going to have to put some compromise on the table. Then we're going to write a law that, okay, fine, because I compromise this and you compromise that, this is what we can do and this is what we cannot do. As long as you and I have that agreement, we can live together. But if you break that agreement, then what do? I either wage war against you or I let it be what it is.
Right. And finally, let me end with this. Can I ask the Christian folk that come up? The only thing you can truly say is you believe it. You can at least come up and represent your religion or your thought process, your beliefs in a better way. That's all.
For them,
respect, fam. Appreciate you. I'm out.
They don't think about a better way because they have what I call religious superiority complex. Like a Christian would never approach you thinking that you could teach them something. It's impossible for a Christian to approach you with the intent to learn.
Right.
They always approach you with that superior intention, as though they are the ones who are coming to save you. So whatever you have for them couldn't be true. So there's no need for you to even say anything to them. You have to just sit down and let them preach to you.
Right.
Run you through a prayer and then give you a rock with your name on it and say, okay, come join my church. That's literally what it is. But we don't live in those times anymore. We are civilized human beings. We can think for ourselves. And we not only can we think for ourselves, we can live together, though we think for ourselves.
Right. Those airplanes you work on, we can't use the Bible to work on them. We can't use the Bible to fix our cars. None of these. Science is what it is. All right, fam. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. There is no devil, and by default, there is no God. You understand? If you think there is a devil, come up here and prove to us that there is one. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get to 100,000 likes. Come on, don't stop tapping the screen. What's going on, Mr. Roep Dwight? Mr. Dwight, what's up? Mr. Dwight is busy. Next guest. The devil is a figment of your imagination.
Yeah, I heard you were talking. Hey, you know what? Me, something that is strange. The devil does not recruit somebody or whatever. Always the Christian, they are approaching. You have to understand them, the language that they are speaking. So I don't know what's going on with this, but I don't believe on it. Because there is no that thing of Christians and Satans. The British, they came with that thing here on Africa so that they can column our people down. So they see, okay, fine, there is a danger there. So everyone have given a mandate so that they can do this and this and this and this. So the Christians, they came here, the Romans, they came here, they do their thing, they do their things. So now us, our minded are still there. So, hey, I don't understand what to say, man. This thing you are talking about today.
I understand you. We're on the same page. We're on the same page, brother. It doesn't exist. It was used as an instrument of control. What people haven't realized is that they don't have to allow themselves to be controlled by feeble-minded ideas anymore. We have access to technology. Let's make use of it. This technology is not going anywhere. Make use of it and improve your life by yourself. You don't need to be afraid of no demons and evil spirit. No, if someone has a mental issue, it's not because they're possessed. Human beings suffer mental breakdowns all the time. If someone is sick, it's not demons, it's viruses and bacteria. I mean, when are people going to get up from sleep, you know? Thank you for your time. I appreciate you. Okay?
Exactly. Big up, mode.
And that's why I think that there's a bunch of bullshit to the Cat Williams interview. Because Cat Williams kept talking about it's about God's side and the devil's side. There's no such thing as God's side and the devil's side. That's BS. That's BS. But Cat Williams knows who he's trying to sell his BS to, right? Because yes, it is true that the things that Cat Williams was saying, there's many elements of truth, things that could be true. But it's not because it's God's side and the devil's side. No, it's just that that's how business works. When people gain money and they have wealth, they begin to dabble into all types of abnormal things that are not normal for poor, broke people that got to work a 5 to 9 job, a 7 to 5 job. You know what I'm saying? When you have money and you got nothing to do, you start thinking about weird shit. Rich people do weird shit because they can. You know what I'm saying? Like, poor people don't got time to do weird shit. They got to work. You got to work like 80, 70 hours a week just to feed yourself. You ain't got time to be going to orgies and stuff like that. Nah. So that's one of the biggest problems with Cat Williams' interview. But people like to jump on anything and feel all hyped up. People like when someone, come on, man. Human beings are so gullible. What's up, man? Damn, the devil don't got this man. I think the devil put that man to sleep. What? I command you to get up in the name of Jesus. May the Holy Spirit wake you up from thy slumber. Shedima shekili. Santalama pampalama konkoloma chinkili. Get up from sleep. Damn, my prayers didn't work. My prayers didn't work. Holy shit, my prayers didn't work.
What's up? How you doing, Bakanga?
I'm doing all right, brother. What you got for me?
Pretty good. Let me tell you, Cat William is more agnostic because there's a part in the video I heard he said, if God exists. Because if is a supposition. You understand? So he's more like agnostic and also he's more like, let's say he's a little confused.
Cat Williams is extremely confused. And he has a lot of anger in his heart too, which influenced a lot of what he said. When a man comes out and talks about other people's business like that, at that type of level, it's because he feels like he has nothing to lose, which is fair enough, you know? It's kind of like what we call snitching. There's nothing, there's nothing wrong with speaking the truth. There's consequences to it. But it's not like Cat Williams is a saint. So he can't be telling us about his God side and the devil side. Like, what did Cat Williams ever do to promote God's side? But Cat Williams knows that he will sell his bullshit to religious people, right? He understands the religious nature of the black culture. So if he plays it out like that, then people will start conspiracy theories. That's why that video has 3-point-something million views, because people are hungry for mysterious things. People are always chasing mysteries. Cat Williams did not say anything that people did not already know. Everybody already knew that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Everybody already knew that.
100%. And I think you're doing an amazing job because, you know, you against religion. Me, I'm also against those other beliefs, spiritual systems like shamanism, voodoo stuff like that. I'm also against that because I feel like this is also BS. You feel me? So, because at the end of the day, one thing I would say, no matter what you believe in, you would forever have to put the effort in making stuff happen. You understand?
Of course.
Yes.
There's no devil in Hollywood, and people in Hollywood don't sell their soul to no devil. What they do is that they sign contracts that make things that we typically would not do. And guess what? Kevin Hart, for example, he made his money. You know, all Kevin Hart has to do is that Jesus saved him, but he will not lose his money. According to the Christian doctrine, right? All these people that Cat Williams was talking about, all they have to do is come and say, well, Jesus, I prayed to Jesus and Jesus forgave me. And it wouldn't even matter anymore what Cat Williams said. You see how easy it is to fix it with religion?
You don't even have to be a Christian and pray every day for forgiveness. You could be a Christian the day you die and say, okay, I'm gonna pay a couple silver and get forgiven. You understand? So you could do all the atrocities in the world and ask for forgiveness the minute of your last breath.
Exactly. It completely invalidates. It's
Yeah, man.
funny.
Yeah, and it's amazing. Like I like how you have the scientific approach and how you look at the sun and all and the whole nature. And you say because the most important thing people don't realize, ninth grade biology told us a lot of stuff, told us a lot of truth. Understand? And people can't comprehend if you can't experience yourself with your five senses. It doesn't exist. If you can't even measure it, because electricity, vibration, and other stuff could be measured. You understand? But God in general cannot be measured. During slavery, there was no God who came through and said, okay, I feel like black people have been suffering too much. Let me just wipe out the whole white race so I could free the black people. There was no God. We had to do something and fight. So, it's different beliefs.
And let me tell you something, especially on the slavery matter. There were many white people who fought against slavery, who stood up against the mistreatment of black people. There were many black people who also fought. But until black people and those good white people, from our perspective, we consider them good, until they took up arms and decided to go against the system, black people would have still been considered second-hand citizens, literally, being working on people's plantations literally today as we used to do back in the day. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
If you are not willing to take on the responsibility to bring about the change that you want to see in your life, you will always be an invisible devil and you always rely on an invisible God. Isn't it so strange that in this whole God dilemma, God and the devil are the only two that we never see? We see ourselves, we talk to ourselves, but God is always like a wind, like mysterious. The devil is always mysterious. When are you going to realize that someone is playing you, bro? It's a scam. It's a scam.
Exactly.
It's a scam.
Exactly.
That is why there's not a single religious person that can come up here and prove that the devil actually exists. They can't do it.
100%. 100%. And that's why
it's easy for them to argue with me that God exists, right? Because all they have to bring up is the bullshit about where did the world come from. You notice that when you say that the devil doesn't exist, they don't bring up the whole idea where did the world come from, right? It's more difficult for them to prove that the devil exists. Yeah, if you say to a religious person, God does not exist, they'll start asking you questions. Well, where did the world come from? Who created the world? But as soon as you say the devil doesn't exist, then they're flabbergasted. They don't know what to use because obviously the devil is not a creator. The devil doesn't really do anything. The devil is like an antithesis there. He's just there to counter what God does. And because the devil is not really material, neither is God material. They are tongue-tied.
And if you really think about it, even if you go back in the ancient time, like ancient Egypt, even they couldn't figure it out. They had to tell you that God created the universe with the word. You understand? With the word from his heart, and the word became life. The same concept of Ptah, in Egypt, and then you have Osiris and Isis and Horus, which is now the other trinity that makes up the same thing that we see in the Bible. But it's three men.
That is why polytheism is older than monotheism. What we call the beliefs in one God only became popular when the Europeans and the Arabs decided to conquer the world.
Exactly. And even that's an oxymoron because the God is three. It's the Son, the Father, and the Holy Spirit. It's three. That's still not one.
That's still not one. Bro, Christians, that's literally one of the biggest fights that Christians have among themselves. They are extremely confused, bro. Like, when I say confused, bro, they are confused. If you ask the average Christian to explain the Trinity, they will bite their tongue in the process.
Exactly.
From the first word of the author to the last word of the author, they will be confused in the word because they don't even understand it because it doesn't make sense. And that's what happens when you legalize and institutionalize buffoonery.
Exactly. Within their own religion, there's so many different confusion. If you can't find if you can't have a harmony within your own religion, what makes you think you would have harmony in in the world?
You want to know one of the biggest contradictions in Christianity? They say that their God is not the author of confusion, and yet even Islam is not even as confused as Christians. Christians are the most confused of all the major religions. They are the least agreeable ones. Like I'm telling you, even if we all just pretended like God existed, bro, you still have Baptist, Presbyterian, and all they do, they get up on Sunday and talk shit about each other. Literally, if you want to be a
Exactly.
famous Christian pastor, bro, all you gotta do is talk shit about other pastors. If you want to
Exactly.
be a following, all you gotta do is talk shit about other religions. All you have to do is insult other religions. For example, this guy on the screen right now, this guy right here, this guy is a professional scammer that used to work out of Nigeria. He scammed all types of people. He scammed black people. He scammed white people. And there's still some people today who believe that this TB Joshua guy had some type of supernatural power when it was all literally just
Exactly.
video manipulations. He called himself a prophet.
Illusion.
He called himself a prophet, and yet he couldn't prophesy his own death. He claimed that he could heal, and yet he died from a disease that he could not be healed. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
When are people gonna wake up? Especially us African people. We're the most gullible of all. We're the most gullible of all people in this world. We're extremely
If God
gullible.
was so powerful and able to heal, hospitals wouldn't exist. When someone just have an accident, people have cancer or any fatal disease, they wouldn't even have to go to hospitals. It would have to take them to a church. And that's the problem with third world countries that you spoke about. There's not enough being taught how important knowledge and medicine is. It's basically the church, and you have those guys, they prey on the weakness of the people and the despair of the people, and they use that to manipulate them and convince them, okay, so my God could heal this. But no, the truth is, it's science and investment that's really solving these situations, not a God in the sky.
It's all in the economics of things. Thank you for your time, my brother. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for your
Much
time.
respect. Love to you, brother, and keep doing the amazing job, man.
Yes, sir. I will continue my work. Thank you. What's up, Scarlett?
Hey, Bakanga, you good?
I'm good, Scarlett. What you got for
Can you
me?
hear me well? 'Cause, yeah, my network is so bad. Listen, Bakanga, I just wanted to ask you, why do you find the need to humanize God or the devil and to reduce it in terms of atoms? So just because we cannot see the invisible, what does that make you think the invisible doesn't exist? And why would you put God and devil as something that exists in matter?
Let me show you where the dilemma is, my dear sister, Scarlett.
Yes, bro.
Do you know that things that don't exist are invisible? Now, I want you to picture something which doesn't exist in your head right now and show it to me where it's visible. Do you know that one of the characteristics of things that don't exist is invisibility? You cannot see something that's not there.
But does that mean
Since antiquity, since men have been propagating ideas of gods, those gods have consistently been invisible, just like things that don't exist.
But Bakanga, I'm kind of finding that you truly are trying to put science into this, and the idea that, so do you believe God does not exist, or do you just say you do not know? He could,
No, I
it could be.
know
It might
that God
not.
doesn't exist. I know that God doesn't exist. By definition of what God is, I know that it doesn't exist. God is an entity that's impossible to exist. It's impossible for you to have an almighty, all-knowing, powerful being. It's impossible. That's not consistent with our reality at all. Like everything is checked and balanced. Like everything has an opposite. That is why even the idea of God, they create the opposite of God called the devil, because God would be completely irrelevant if there was no opposite to God. You see what I'm saying? So when they made that idea, they had to make a devil as well. That's why I said to you, you notice that the devil and God are both invisible. So the only time we're arguing, we're really always arguing just with ourselves as human beings. But we never see the gods, or neither we see the demons or the devils. But when people begin to behave in a certain way, we begin to attribute it to either gods or devils because they're all imaginary ideas.
Okay, Bakanga, let me ask you something. Why is like Earth existing without it having something that would kill it? Like, who or what is this thing that is so intelligent that creates a man, creates the earth, make sure that we get the right amount of oxygen and everything? If there was no like a supreme designer or like an intelligence that is there. How can everything be so balanced? Like, why don't we wake up in the morning and find the sun on earth, like on the floor?
I
Like,
would
how does
educate
all
you.
that happen?
I will educate you. And please listen to my voice and understand my words. I am by no means trying to persuade you, but I am trying to inspire you to think. So just think with me 1 second, okay? This balance that you allude to is not quite balanced if you really look at it real closely, because people die. You notice? When
But
we
isn't
look
that
at the
not
world,
nature and selection and the survival?
I will show you. Just listen carefully and understand what I'm
Yes,
saying.
brother.
When you observe the world, you notice that this thing that we call life is very temporary, very inconsistent, and it is completely out of balance. So things that are alive actually have to struggle to remain alive, but they always lose. Every living thing loses the battle. The only things that remain there are things that are not living, because those things don't have feelings and emotions to react. Like a mountain, when an eruption happens, the mountain doesn't complain because the mountain is not a person. The mountain cannot move, cannot displace itself. When the wind blows, water is spread left and right. Water doesn't complain. But we, living things, children are born with cancer. Some people are born without their legs. Twins are born and some of them are joined together. We see too many mistakes in this process. In fact,
Isn't it not the imperfect that makes perfect? Is it not distraction that actually causes creation? I don't understand, because you're trying to sort of like neglect the law of nature and almost like say that things that happen are bad things, which means there is no God.
I never
But you
said that
can look at it as
No, I
nature
am
and
telling you that.
selection.
I am telling you that when we observe the world, we can conclusively say it is not the product of a perfect being. A perfect being cannot make something imperfect. A perfect being would always
But it
produce
is the
something that
same
is
being. It's divided itself as the positive side and the negative side. All that is one energy.
Do you realize that you are now personifying and saying that it has divided itself, as though you were there, as though you can conclusively say that it did, right? Because of you're filling in a gap for something that can only be obtained through research. I'm telling you, why do you think our science improves with research? Let me read to you the definition of science, okay? This is the definition of science so you can understand. Most of you religious people, I don't know if you're religious, but have zero understanding of what science really is. Science is the systematic study of the structure and the behavior of the physical and natural world through observation, experimentation, and testings of theories against evidence obtained. If I take this bottle and this bottle does something, I will try to do it again. If it works the second time, I will do it the third time. If it works the third time, I will do it the fourth time. If it works 4, 5, 6 times, then I will just keep doing it. And when I have my children, I will teach them to keep doing it the same way I did it, until somebody figures out that, oh no, you don't really need only this bottle. You can also have a cup. Oh look, you can have a spoon. Oh look, that is how the world works. The world is, we can definitively say that the world is not the product of an intelligent being, because there's too many unintelligent mistakes. There's too many silly mistakes, as a matter of fact. So if this world that we're living in is a product of intelligence, then this person must have been drunk when he was making it.
No, okay, so Bakanga,
let me ask you
you're almost implying
sister, where do you live right now? Where do you live
the
right now?
imperfection is more than the perfection.
Sister,
That's what you're saying. Like, many things are wrong and not many things are actually balanced and good.
There's no perfection in life, because life ends. It's an imperfect end to life. There is no life that remains permanent in one form continuously, because this environment is not designed to support life. So life is a temporary occurrence, like a glitch in the system, right? So
Bakanga, what if everything existed and didn't die? It didn't die, it didn't go away. What if that happens? Because you're trying to describe as if that would be the perfect situation, that everything lived to the end.
Yes.
You're refusing to actually see creation as something that comes from destruction.
No, it's not that creation comes from destruction. It's that the world is undergoing a constant state of transformation. Transformation, right? If I put a candle in an oven, that candle would change its form because the conditions, the environment has changed. So life is dependent on its environment, and the environment itself is not consistent. If it gets too cold and you don't heat up your body, you will freeze to death. So as soon as it gets cold, a human being possessing autonomy would seek for forms to heat himself up, because otherwise you cannot function naturally. You see what I'm saying? That's why I'm saying to you that the world is not the product of a creative power. It is the product of natural occurrences which have no specific intent to support life. Neither does it have any specific intent to end life. It's just that life is a phenomenon that occurred. And when you look at time and the immeasurable nature of time, you begin to notice how things could have evolved or developed. Some people don't like that word evolve. Things would have developed, right, throughout the generations. We're talking about millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of years. That is why today
Bakanga,
in our human world,
don't you think what you're calling nature and its way of creating, you're actually defining God by
no,
saying that?
I'm not defining God, because God
Because
has already,
you've
God has
attributed
already,
creation to something.
God
You've
has already,
attributed to an intelligence being
sister,
or a stupid thing that is doing this.
that is not what I've done. I have not called it a creation. Nature does not
So what do
create.
you call it? So what
It's
do you
a
call it?
transformation. Things change form. Nothing remains in one form. Like if the temperature changes, water will freeze, it will change its form. And then as soon as the temperatures occur, water will then melt. And if it's too hot, it will evaporate. As soon as it cools down, it will condense and then turn back into liquid. You see what I'm saying? It's just environmental, and different environments, as the environment works based on ecosystems. For example, the fish comes out of the water, he cannot live anymore. He cannot live anymore. There's some animals that can breathe underwater and live on land. You know, it's too inconsistent. It's too inconsistent to depict it as the work of an intelligent being. Now, there is one thing we must acknowledge. We must acknowledge that we are here. What is our greatest desire? Our greatest desire is to survive. What is our greatest battle? Our greatest battle is to wage war against death. That's why we have a medical system. That's why doctors have always been around, because death is really our biggest obstacle. And we don't blame anyone for our death, because we know that we don't die because somebody wants us to die. We die because we are not able to overcome the environmental forces that lead against us. For example, a virus needs to live, but the virus cannot live without putting itself in a human being's body. So the human being has to decide which one is more important, my life or the life of a virus. If you value your life, you have to get rid of the virus. For example, a lion has to eat. The lion does not eat grass. So guess what? The lion has to go and eat the antelope. Does the antelope want to die? No. But that's just how nature works. Is it a bad thing that a frog ate a worm? No. I've never seen none of you religious people trying to evangelize animals that they should not eat each other. But we human beings, what do? We don't want to eat each other, right? Because we depend on each other for our own survival. And yet, you guys eat meat all the time. You eat food all the time. You eat other living things all the time. You don't care because it doesn't affect you at your level of your conscience. And in fact, you dehumanize all these other forms of living things and make yourself superior to them, and then justify it by your delusions of what a god is. So God was so intelligent, he made lions to eat meat. Have you ever seen a lion eating grass? Do you realize that? If I can ask you a question.
Isn't that not what
I don't know which
is
religion you subscribe to. I don't know which religion you subscribe to. Are you a Christian or a Muslim?
I'm neither a Christian or Muslim. I'm spiritual. So I do believe that there is a negative force and a positive force. I do believe in a lot of things in the Bible.
That's not being spiritual.
So, okay, so Bakanga, now that you know everything, what is being, you could help me. So what is being spiritual? When you believe...
Spiritual simply means to be mentally sound. Anybody that has mental
Okay.
issue is spiritually handicapped. Yes. So in the
So I
ancient
have
world.
a mental
No,
issue,
hold
right?
on. No, let me show you this. Let me show you
No, no,
this.
no. I just asked. So I have a mental issue, right?
No, I'm not gonna get there yet. Just wait. I'm gonna get there yet. I'm gonna give you a homework. I want you to go and read the Quran and read the
I've
Bible.
read all of it.
Wait now. Okay, good. Then answer my question. Can you show me anywhere on the pages of the Bible where you can find that word mental? You will never find the word mental or mentality in the Bible. That word mental is not in those books. The substitute for the word mental and mentality is spirit. When in the ancient world, in the ancient languages, when they were talking about the mind, they will use the word spirit. So your spirit is invisible because your spirit is the mind, the way you think. That's why it is
Nah, Bakanga.
Okay,
The spirit is your consciousness.
hold
There
on.
is a big difference between a mind and consciousness. The mind is the gadget that you use to actually like understand information and to store information.
Let me read to
That's
you.
not your consciousness.
Let me read to
That
you.
is
Let me
not your
read to you.
consciousness. Mind is different from
Let me read
consciousness.
to you the definition of spirit, okay? Because I'm not going to argue with you about our semantics, right? I'm just going to read to you what it says in English. A spirit is the non-physical part of a person, which is the seat of emotions and character. They also call it the soul. So it is the seat. Sister,
No,
listen.
Bakanga.
Sister,
You know
listen.
what? Bakanga, just put a second.
Sister, listen.
Just put a second. I just say this. I said you said the mind is consciousness. I mean, the mind is what is the soul, and I was telling you, mind and consciousness are two completely different things.
Sister, that has nothing
He
to do
even
with what I'm
said
saying.
it's the invisible
Listen
part.
carefully. Have I uttered the word consciousness out of my mouth? You're the one who uttered that word. I did not say anything about consciousness. I simply said to you what spirit is. I'm saying to you the way you see some people that do very hard work. They like to say mind over body, right? It's the mind and the body. In our modern English, that's what mind over body is. In the old English, they used to say spirit over body. That's why the Bible says that if you walk by the spirit, you will not fulfill the lust of the flesh. So you need to have self-control by controlling your mind. So if you think about everything you do, you will not always act just based on the instinct of your body. For example, if you see somebody's wife, if you don't think about it, you will just follow your little arousal. You're gonna sleep with somebody's wife. But if you think about it in your brain, you think you have common sense. Common sense will tell you that look, there's negative consequences. Don't sleep with somebody's wife. That's all it's telling you. It's mental health. It's not something mysterious. No, it's all mental health. Like literally, that the Bible says that the flesh and the spirit are always at war. That is true. It's not everything that you want because your body wants it that you should do. For example, if you want to be in shape, your body is hungry, your body wants to eat food, but you need to have mental strength. You have to be mentally strong to only eat healthy. You understand? That's why people are obese in America, because people don't have self-control. Like, as soon as you crave a burger, your body wants to eat a burger, you just go to McDonald's and buy the burger. But a person that has mental strength, or what you would call spiritual strength, which is just your mind, that person has control over their emotions. Like it says here, the spirit is the non-physical part of a person, which is the seat of emotions and character. Your emotions is your state of mind. Your character is the behavior that is born out of your state of mind. So yes, if you can control your feelings, your emotions, and control your character, you will not always do things that go against your own well-being. That's just common sense. So in the Bible, in a nutshell, they're simply saying that think before you act. That's all they're saying. It's not really, listen, what are the 9 fruits of the Spirit? The 9 fruits of the Spirit is love, joy, kindness, gentleness, faithfulness, self-control, patience, goodness. Those are all characteristics of a person who thinks before they act. It's not even exclusive only to Christianity. You go to Buddhism, that's what they're trying to teach you. They're saying think before you act. You go to Islam, that's what they're saying, think before you act. The only problem is that they are telling you that you cannot think for yourself unless you submit to their God. That's madness. You can think for yourself. You don't need to submit to nobody's God. You don't need to mystify things in order to be able to act out. In fact, let me read to you the definition of the word emotions. Then I'll read to you the definition of the word soul. Emotions. Emotions are defined as, bro, I can't spell. Emotions are defined as a natural instinctive state of mind deriving from one's circumstances, mood, or relationship. So your emotions is how your environment affects the way you think. So it is a state of mind deriving from one's circumstances. So if you are poor, your poverty will affect your emotions, your feelings. If you are rich, your wealth will affect your feelings. It is also your mood. Your mood is how you are, just your general state, how you're feeling that day. You don't want to go to work, but you have to go to work. A person who doesn't have emotional control will not go to work if they don't feel like going to work. But a person that has common sense knows that they have to go to work, even if you don't feel like going to work. The same thing is true with relationships, right? You are trying to relate with people. You're trying to find common ground. And when it doesn't work out, it can affect your state of mind. It will affect the way you think. Like a man who is fighting with his wife, when he goes to work, he's doing some safety sensitive type of work. He can make a mistake and cut his hand because his mind, he's being absent-minded. Hence, when you say to me that you're spiritual, you're just telling me that you're a person who thinks before they act. It's not special. It's not even related to religion. Really, it's not. You can think for yourself, and you don't have to over mystify it. But you know what? A lot of people, when they leave religion, they miss that feeling of religion. So they find something else to put themselves into. That is what I think of people who
Bakanga,
like to...
can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Where did the Bible come from?
The Bible was made by...
Or rather the
empires.
books.
The Bible is a product of different empires throughout time, beginning from antiquity, so more than 2,000 years ago. When man learned how to read and write, those who could read and write realized that they can use the written word as a way to control people who cannot read and write. That's why you notice that in every religion, those who used to write were called the scribes. They used to hold very high position in society. And the majority of people could not read and write. So people will naturally elevate people who could read and write. The same way that we do with our sports players. In our society today, we celebrate. That's what they're called, celebrities. We celebrate people that can do things that most of us cannot do. Like Michael Jordan, like Tiger Woods, like Lionel Messi, like Cristiano Ronaldo. We celebrate them because they can do things that we cannot do. It is true. When books were first written, the people who used to write that book used to elevate themselves and make other people worship them. Period. It was written by men. The Bible, you want to know the specific men? It began with the Roman Empire in the days of Constantine. But every empire that came after that wrote their own version. That is why there's a version called the King James Version. Why do you think it's called King James? King James needed a way to control his people. So he wrote his own version of the Bible. Many other kings did the same thing. But those empires were not as powerful as the British Empire. Now we have what? The New American Version. There's also called the New American Version. The Americans wrote their own. The Arabs wrote their own. They called it Quran. It was an old way of writing a constitution. Are you done, my sister? Thank you for your time, okay? You would learn today. You have been scammed. It's not about how you feel or what you believe. You can believe 10 million times you are wrong. You are wrong. You're wrong. You have made a mistake. If you cannot deal with it, you'll be miserable for the rest of your life. They have scammed you. You can live without believing in all that nonsense. You can live, you can do it until you try to. And just because you can live without doing it doesn't mean that life will not be life will be difficult. But there are other ways to deal with the difficulties of life. You don't have to intentionally make yourself unintelligent. Very soon machines will replace you. Then you become useless. What's up, man? Go straight to your point. What's up, man? Go straight to your point. It's not necessarily wrong as much as it is damaging to believe in God. You damage your brain. Believing in God will damage your brain the same way that believing in Santa Claus damages the brain of an adult. An adult is supposed to be a responsible individual. Believing in God will take away your sense of responsibility. You become useless. You'll be a beggar. You'll be an eternal beggar. You beg for the rest of your life. I am simply encouraging you to think for yourself. Stop following men like TB Joshua. Just because they come online and tell you, oh, the Lord said to me, oh, they're lying to you. They're lying to you. They have been lying to you since you were born. If you were raised a Christian, they were lying to you. I am here to set you free by making you think for yourself. TB Joshua was a professional liar. A professional. He was a lying sage. He was a sage of lies. An inaugurated deceiver. Like we say in broken English, he was a thief. I'm just a man. Who am I to set you free? I'm just a man who thinks for himself. I'm just a man who does not believe. I'm just a man, bro. I ain't special. I just think. And I'm happy because I know that you can think too. It's just strange to me that you refuse to think. You have no proof of this accusation. If you want proof, go and watch all those fake miracles they used to do on those Emmanuel TV. Go and watch all those fake miracles. Go and watch all those fake miracles, all those scripted. You guys don't know the difference. You Africans, you have been watching Nigerian movies your whole life. You still don't know the difference between acting and reality. You Nigerians. So you don't know the difference between acting. Or you want Mr. Ibu to go and do it. Sam Loco. You want Ukwa to act before you know that it's acting. You want Aki and Popo to act before you know it's acting. Somebody, your brains. TB Joshua was a Nollywood actor. He was a Nollywood. Pastor Chris is a Nollywood actor. They are all actors. Everything you see on television in those churches in Africa is all scripted. It's all scripted. The fact Nigeria is suffering today because your brains haven't realized that nonsense yet. You are the ones who are inflicting poverty upon yourself. When you think that going to church is better than going to school. That's why your sons have become Yahoo boys, 419. They're trying to be like their pastors, scammers. Look at TD Jakes over here. He has been scamming people for years while doing the opposite of what he preaches. Look at Joe Austin. Bro, if you want proof, go and do the research yourself. Stop being lazy. Stop being lazy. You understand that thinking requires you to work, right? Thinking is an action, active action. You need to think. If TB Joshua was a healer, he would never have died from a disease. Use your brain. He could heal everybody except himself. At least Jesus resurrected himself, right? In your storybook, Jesus resurrected himself. The TB Joshua healed himself. You are mentally poor. You are mentally poor. Anyone who doesn't think for themselves is mentally poor. What's up, Michelle? Welcome back. What you got?
Yeah, thank you for welcoming me back. I was just listening and I was thinking, okay, what would be a great book that you could suggest to us to help bridge the gap in this understanding of why you believe, because I mean, it's not only your opinion, but it's you are making some strong points here, and yet once, like you said, after you leave Christianity or religion, you start longing for it too, because you're missing the routine, the camaraderie, or the community of belonging and all believing in one thing or the same thing. And then how do you dismiss the fact that when you are having that collective congregating experience, and you're being and you're feeling a spirit of God, or you're feeling the energy of the room, all believing in, or having one mind set to believe that there is a God who's in heaven looking down on us and hearing each one of our prayers individually in this collective space. So, I mean, I'm kind of rambling, but
no, you're not rambling. I actually quite understand what you're saying, and your questions are very delicious.
Oh,
very delicious. I could feast on your question, because you know what that tells me? It would be impossible for you to ask me that question if you were not thinking critically.
Okay. Thank you.
Your questions are a product of critical thinking, and your questions are valid because those are the questions that hinder most religious people from coming out of the bullshit. If I was to leave my religion, where will I be? Because the first thing you realize when you come out of the bullshit is that now you got to do work. You got to learn how to live your life without depending on other people's validation. Hence, I'm not telling people not to go to church. Listen, people go to music concerts all the time and drink and do drugs and go back to their lives. They don't go around believing that the experiences they had there were some type of real experiences that they cannot live without. Go to church and enjoy the music. Sit down there and enjoy the pastor line. It is nothing wrong if you know he's lying. You can sit there. If you enjoy it, sit there. Just know that it's a lie. If you know what is going on, then no one is stopping you from going there. Shit, music is music. If you like seeing people doing the shady baba shekere, listen, African churches are the worst ones, okay? When they start praying, that's pretty much a license for everyone to act crazy. If you enjoy that type of entertainment, please, with all due respect, go and entertain yourself. If you like seeing a bunch of men, if you like seeing men standing up and then kissing the ground at the same time, go to the mosque. Please, go to the mosque. In fact, go and listen to the imam read the Quran to you. If you just like to hear somebody saying, oh, no. If you enjoy that stuff, go and do it. But don't be a buffoon. Think for yourself still. Understand that you don't have to do it. Especially in this world, we have many other ways of socializing. You can go and volunteer. You can go and volunteer for a non-profit that feeds the homeless if you need friends. You can go to school and volunteer to be a teacher. Eh? You can start your own social club. Get some friends that you have social activities in common and socialize. You see, one of the biggest things that the religious people do is that they try to demonize other forms of socialization, other forms of socializing, so that you will be dependent on them, right? I'm not telling you not to participate. I'm just telling you to think. Don't get caught up in the bullshit. So when the time comes for you to step out of that church, you can kiss it goodbye. You know what I'm saying? In fact, you are asking me for a book. In as much as I would like to recommend a book, I'm going to teach you this. A child learns how to think before that child learns how to read. If you don't know that you are the one who is reading, then anything you read will always damage you more than it will help you. A man must first learn how to walk before he can run. I am telling you to first learn how to think for yourself. Then you won't even need me to recommend the book. Because a person who thinks for themselves will know what type of books. Am I going to tell you to read Hamlet? I can recommend you can read Hamlet, or you can read Romeo and Juliet. If you are going through emotional problems, go and read. If you are going through a problem in your relationship, go and read Romeo and Juliet. Or you can read Othello. Or you can go and read the story of Adam and Eve. Or you can read the story of David and Abigail. Or you can go. You can read the story of Samuel and Hannah. There's many love stories all across the world. You can read any one you want to. If you love poetry, please read the Bible. If you love really intense poetry, read the Quran. Nevertheless, I am writing a book.
Okay. Be
It's called,
interested to hear when that comes out. But here's what I say, because I agree with what you're saying. And I was just having the conversation recently where I was mentioning how, when they used to teach us the Bible, early, in our Sunday school or vacation Bible school, they said the acronym for the Bible was basic information before leaving Earth. And, it makes sense that you don't want to stop at the Bible. You do want to read more and learn about other religions and why the Bible tells you that other religions are used for reproof. And the Bible actually leads you to a world outside of just being captured in the pages of it, because you have to go to other sources to really, gather and teach yourself fully about what it's, why it even said that. Why is it speaking to you in that way? And what else? And
I will tell you something. What is the first of all 10 commandments?
Thou shalt not. Oh my God. I don't even know my commandments. I'm sorry. Thou shalt not.
Thou shalt have no God.
Yeah, I shouldn't have. Yeah, okay. Thou shalt have no God before any other.
That first commandments I say, you can have any God you want to. That's what it should say. If it's a commandment, think for yourself.
Thou shalt have no other God before.
Right. It begins with an ultimatum that puts you in a box. No matter how beneficial the other 9 commandments are, if you can only have one God, then you're already limited. Right? Now, Jesus said to you that there's 2 great commandments. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your might. Then you shall love your neighbor as yourself. But I, Bakanga, I say to you, you need not love any God. Love yourself and love your neighbor. Above that, there is no other advice. Love yourself.
I agree.
Know yourself. Know your neighbor and love your neighbor. Your neighbor could be a tree. Your neighbor could be a dog. Your neighbor could be a horse. Your neighbor is simply any other thing that you come across in your journey of life. It could be your house. If you love your house, you will take care of it. So when the rain comes, it will not fall on you. If you love your car, you will do the maintenance so it doesn't quit on you in the middle of the road. That's your neighbor. If you love your money, you will secure it and you will save it and the thief will not get it. You see what I'm saying? But you cannot control a person without putting honey, sweet honey. So when the person tastes the honey and it's sweet, they will ignore the fact that too much of it is poison. When someone tastes sugar, sugar is sweet when you take a little bit. But if you eat too much of it, what happens? When you drink cold water, it is refreshing. But if the water is too cold, what happens? When you drink hot water, it is refreshing. But when you drink too much hot water, so hence, loving the Lord your God is a commandment that a slave master gives his slave. For a lord is a British officer, a landlord. It's pretty much a British landlord. That word Lord doesn't even exist in the Hebrew. There is not an equivalent translation to that word Lord. Hence, within the English language, you know where the root of that commandment comes from. The Lord is the king. The supreme Lord in the British Empire is the king. If you love the king, then you do whatever the king says, and the king doesn't care if you love your neighbor, who is your fellow slave. But I say to you, you need not love any gods. Know yourself, and love your neighbor. Above that, there is nothing else that is necessary. All other things are a leisure.
I mean, very true. Very true. And I was just, I love the fact that what you're saying is so impactful to the point that we have to pull away from basic instructions and deep dive into who we are, because even the Bible tells you, know thyself, be true. It alludes to, you do have the wounded healer has to heal himself. And my mantra has been for the last few years is for a healthy self, you have to heal thyself. So you have to focus
Never
on you.
heal
You have to be
yourself.
reflective, and you have to, pardon?
But what the Bible says is counterproductive. For the Bible says, a man died for you. So you don't know that you have to die for yourself. That is the biggest handicap of every Christian. Not only do they not know that they're supposed to die for themselves, they don't know that they're supposed to live for themselves.
They're
A
supposed to
man,
focus.
if somebody died for you, that means that that person also lived for you, and you don't even have life. So your existence is now as flimsy as the wind. Believing that Jesus died for you means that you cannot live your life anymore. You don't have your life. You don't have a life to live. Hence, that is how you control the minds of the gullible. Every man must know that he would die for himself just as he has lived for himself. Hence, I'm telling you today, we talk about love. There is no one in this world. There is no one in this world that loves you enough that if you die today, they will also enter that casket with you.
Touche. Touche. I get it. I just, like I said, this is just such a huge pill to swallow for, those who have nothing else to grasp and have had a religious way of living, thinking, and being, and it's permeated. Even though you read the Bible and even though you know your history, you know that the slave master used it to control, the slaves, especially on New Year's Day, and New Year's Eve. It was one of those things, the watch night services. It was, they were allowed, it's just all of that coming together and just learning that there's the history and being able to critically process all this in a way that doesn't leave people so, destitute where they have nothing to grasp, nothing to grab onto. And, even though it is within them, everything that they look for is within them. The Bible alludes and talks about, there are many gods, many gods. And then we talk about, and then there, even in the law, there's, it says that there are gods and then there are humans. So it's just, there's so much to unpack that we, we're learning that, our Webster dictionary, the words that we've been using, don't mean the same for, other cultures and communities. Even on this US of A, and I'm in America, so I'm in United States. So
I'm in California.
yeah. Yeah, so it's like, there's like a whole different, it's a book. What is it? The Black's Law Dictionary that they use to define, and most Jewish people have that book and they use that along with their Torah. And it's like, they have a whole way.
When you don't understand the dictionary definition of words, you are illiterate. When you don't understand, think about it, okay? People who were considered illiterate were not illiterate because they couldn't speak the language. They were illiterate because they couldn't read and write.
Right.
So language changes when it goes from a spoken form to a written form. Mm-hmm. When you speak, you have a little bit of autonomy to subjectively manipulate words in order to present subjective ideas. But language is not written as a subjective thing. Language is written following set standards and principles. So when someone writes something, you cannot define it from your subjective perspective. You have to know how to speak. You have to know how to read and write English at the level of a master before you can read an English book and understand it at the level of a master. It literally is simply just illiteracy. That's why you notice that in the religious world, someone can be a Christian for 20 years, but they have never even once attempted to read the damn book themselves from beginning to the end because they have become dependent on someone else to read it for them, study it for them, and then just give it to them. Just like our fast food industry. Someone else makes the burger, the meat, someone else makes the patty, and you just go, in 5 minutes, they give you bread and meat that you have no idea. You have no idea if there were roaches in that meat when it was being grounded. You have no idea if that bread fell on the ground when they gave it to you. A person who is a master of themselves is like a person who doesn't eat fast food. They go and cook their own food. Cook your own food. Then you will know that the food is absolutely good and healthy for you. But you can flip a coin and trust that the person who made that meat made it with integrity and ethics. But if you were not there at the meat factory, no doubt you got obese when you ate it. No doubt you got obese. No doubt you have complications. No doubt you do. But by the time you realize you're already addicted to it, and that addiction is now something you cannot overcome on your own, especially when you are bombarded with advertisements of the very thing that you're addicted to. People are addicted to the good feeling of being told what they want to hear, and what they compromise is the truth. Just like people who are addicted to fast food compromise their health. People compromise their mental health because they're addicted to the religious environments that have been put around them. Some people can't wait to go to church on Sunday so they can put their hands up in the air and be like, Lord, so they can cry in public. So they can feel validated. Listen, when you go into a place where everybody's allowed to cry, some people are addicted to that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the laughing preachers out of Toronto, right? You guys know about the whole Toronto outpouring thing. If you're a Christian, you know about that Toronto bullshit that happened in Canada, where when the Spirit of God would come down upon them, they would just start laughing hysterically. Some people like that form of entertainment. They just don't know it's entertainment. That's the problem. If you knew it was entertainment and that's how you choose to entertain yourself, we would really have no problem with you. But you come out of there and you're drunk on that feeling, and then now you think that Jesus is going to save everybody. You go knocking on everybody's door. You notice?
Can I interrupt you for a moment? Because when you say that, it's because one of the things I remember that led me to church, and I was married to a Muslim at the time, and reading the Quran and the Bible, and kind of trying to work it out for myself. I was talking to a lady who was in church, and I was going through a hard time, a hard place, and all this woman did, and she was wherever she was, in her office somewhere over the phone. She just prayed for me, and I felt such a move, and of course, the way you speak is, I felt such a move of God that I was like, oh my God, if you could pray like that. I wanted to learn how to pray that way. I wanted to learn how to lift, those kind of spirits, or break, that bind, whatever that was binding me to, this sad moment in my life, because I was like, how do we break those curses? How do I do that? So I wanted to go to church to learn that. Because I was like, I know I'm like around a lot of people who are bound, and it made sense. So church was a place. But then when I go to church, I'm like, wait a minute. The critical thinking kicked in after a while, because I could, because I was now a product of my environment. I was starting to, feel. And I guess the best word to say is that I felt like I was no longer productive. I felt kind of useless. And I did not realize that, it was because I just felt like I was bound. It's like I put myself into bondage. Whereas before I was, when I was learning how to, just becoming a Christian, I was very productive. I was getting, I had all kind of things going on in the community, working with the church. I was doing all kinds of, but then when I got in, it was like, I had to sit back and see what was going on. And it was like, there was more, to me, more spiritual, I don't know, witchcraft. I don't even know what if you would call it that, but one man said there's more witchcraft practiced in the USA than there is in other third world countries. And I thought, how can that be?
Let me interrupt you, okay? Listen. You've smoked marijuana before, right?
Have I? Why you ask?
Just respond. I want an honest answer. You've smoked marijuana before, right?
Yes, I have.
Okay. When you started smoking marijuana, do you remember your first time you smoked?
Ooh, the first time I smoked. Not exactly. Why? Because
How much did you have to smoke the first time to feel high?
I mean, God, that was way back in the day. I know I got a little dime bag. I had a whole bunch and it lasted me a long
How
time
much
because
did
I
you
didn't
have
smoke
to
a lot.
smoke?
I wasn't really a smoker.
I'm talking about your very first time you hit a blunt or smoked marijuana. Did you have to smoke a whole blunt to get high?
No, I did not. And I still don't. I don't because I don't,
Relax, sister. Relax,
doesn't take
sister.
much.
Think with me, okay? I'm not trying to do anything. I'm just trying to get you to think.
Exactly. Go ahead.
It didn't take much to get you in that feeling. People have reasons why they smoke marijuana, okay? That's why there's a medical aspect to it. It does affect the mind in a certain way. The
Okay.
only problem is that it's easy to abuse, right? So if you get it prescribed, you can get it in dosages. But the very first time you smoked, it didn't take up to a blunt. The very first time you drank, it did not take you 5 beers to get drunk. But the more you do it, you build a tolerance. So yes, when you first experience religion in that way, the hype, the newbie hype was really high. But then over time, you began to desire more because it would take more to get you into that place where you were feeling the way you felt the very first time. And unfortunately, it never delivers. It never delivers. So you get to the point where you're just almost stuck because you need more, but there's nothing more to offer. You've already seen all the tricks in the bag. Every year you go through the crossover service, then the pastor starts his routine again. Until the next January, he gets up and says, "This year is your year." Every year they're telling you that this year is your year. And you're just wishing that one of those years will actually be your year, but it never is your year. So yes, it's an addictive circumstance. It's addictive, like a drug, right? Most people are in church chasing a high because they're going through emotional shit in their lives. They want a distraction from reality. And the more they pretend that the distraction is real, the more they are blind to actual reality. That's what you went through. Hence, now that you've left Christianity, like you can see through the bullshit, you chose to be spiritual because you're not completely free from that feeling, that mystifying feeling, right? There's just this high you get when things are mysterious and you just kind of mellow and you just go without really knowing what's going on. For example, most people that smoke marijuana don't really know what it's doing to their body. Most people that do cocaine don't care what it is. People that do meth don't care what it's doing to their body. They want the high. The high is more important than what happens to their actual body. The same thing is true
with religion.
Yes, because it's all your state of mind. That's why they say when you stop doing drugs, it's called sobering up. Sobering up. That means your mind is not under the influence of something, whether it is something that is delivered as a hard pill. TikTok says to remove you.
To remove me? Why is that?
I don't know. They just sent me a message on the screen that says remove Michelle. Anyways, thank you for okay, Michelle.
Am I not? I see it too. I'm like, what is this? I'm not a baby. That's funny.
Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, let me see. I'll take on one last guess. I know some of you Christians are in there manifesting your wickedness because you guys don't like what I'm talking about. There is no devil. There never has been. What's up, Mr. Matthew?
Good morning.
Go straight to your point. Then I'll go to Cynthia.
Okay. When it comes to the fact that about saying there's no devil per se is a kind of conception of wickedness in the heart of man. It's not a kind of physical being. Yes. It's not the kind of physical being. When they talk about Satan,
If
devil.
you think that the devil is not a physical being, then you and I are on the same page. There's no argument between me and you.
Okay. it's a kind of concept. I just saw it right now. I came online and just saw it right now. I had to log in. Yeah, it's a kind of conception of wickedness on because as human beings, sometimes we are envious of one another. Sometimes we want to see our fellow human being see them downfalling. So that conception that one has in his heart against his fellow human being, that is the devil itself, or the devil himself.
Do you think that a lion has evil in his heart when he decides to go and eat an antelope?
The lion, that is, God has designed the lion to
No.
be a
Let's not
carnivorous
talk
animal.
about God designed the lion. Let's just talk about the lion by itself. You did not see God design
Let me
any
say,
lion.
okay, I know you don't believe in God. The lion is designed to be a carnivorous
Brother, the
animal.
lion is not designed by anybody. You do not see it happening. Let's not pretend as if it's true. Let's not even talk about that.
That's what I'm
Let's just talk about.
saying.
I'm asking you a question.
The stomach of the lion cannot digest grass.
Brother,
The
I'm
lion does not
asking you
eat
a
grass.
simple question.
It doesn't
I'm
eat
asking you a
vegetables.
simple question. Answer my simple question. Does the
Okay?
lion have evil in his heart when he chooses to eat the gazelle?
That is his food.
Okay, good. Does the virus has evil in his heart when he chooses to live in the stomach of a human being?
That is when a human being is careless.
Bro, does the virus have evil in his heart?
The virus is a microorganism.
Bro, does the virus have evil in his heart? Yes or no?
The virus is a microorganism.
Bro,
Yes.
does the
And if
virus
you're not
have
careful
evil
about
in
it,
his
it's
heart?
just like
Yes
in
or
your
no?
home. Huh?
Does the
What?
virus have evil in his heart? Yes or no?
The virus is a microorganism.
I did not ask you what a virus is. I
So
said
no one can know.
evil in his heart. Yes or no?
It is always looking for where to live and
Does
where
a
to thrive. If
virus
you're careful
have
about it,
evil
and
in his
the
heart?
virus goes
I did
in.
not ask you to tell me what the virus is. I already know what the virus is. I'm simply asking you, does it
No,
have evil in his heart?
no, it does not have.
Okay.
It does not have.
Okay.
Okay,
Do you
by
have,
human perspective, it doesn't have. It's only looking.
bro?
Okay, go on.
Do you have evil in your heart when you kill a fly?
Because I don't want it around me.
Bro, do you have evil in your heart when you kill a fly?
Killing a fly is a necessity, not really an evil.
Bro, do you have evil in your heart when you kill a fly? Yes or no?
Okay, what do you what I can
Bro,
is some of the questions is not necessarily yes or no,
answer
and
my
it does not
question.
require yes or no.
Bro, just answer my question. Do you have evil in your heart when you kill a fly?
That's what I'm saying. Some of your
Yes or
questions is
no?
not necessarily a yes or no question. Some things are necessarily to be done. Just like a mosquito biting you, do you?
Hello, Cynthia. Cynthia,
Hello.
talk to me.
Good morning.
What you got for me, Cynthia?
Good morning.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to ask one question, only one question. You said there's no death, right? Then do you believe there's hell, heaven, and there's hellfire?
No, all those places don't exist.
Really?
Not really. Let me know when you find where hellfire is. I want to go there myself too. I'm going to find out. Have you been there?
No, because I haven't been dead before.
But have you ever seen a dead person going anywhere?
No, but there's someone
Isn't it
that
madness?
told.
Isn't it madness to think that something is going somewhere when you can see where it's going? You know that people will put them in the ground. You don't see them going anywhere. Who is it that you know that died? We put them in the ground. Then they came out of the ground to come and tell us that they went to hellfire. You know anybody that's in the ground right now who went to hellfire and came back?
I heard a story of someone that died and
They did not die. Look, they did not die. If you go into a state that is really close to death, your heartbeat slows, you begin to hallucinate. It's like a dream. You go into a deep state of a dream. As long as that person is breathing and alive today, they never died. You get it? A dead person is someone whose body has begun to decompose and we have put them in the ground. If you can find one of them that came out of the ground to come and tell us, after their body have decomposed, say, hey, look, I have come back, hellfire, then maybe we'll listen to that person.
So you don't believe that someone can have the second chance to live?
You can have a second chance to live if you came very close to death and somebody helped you to restitute your body back to a state of independent functionality. For example, people who are in a coma, they're not necessarily dead. It's just that their bodily functions have ceased in a way that they can live for themselves. So we put them on life support. That's why it's called life support. If you take them off life support, then they die. So yes, if somebody put you on life support, that's a second chance.
Oh, okay. You've answered my question.
If your body has rotten,
Yeah. Yeah.
you're not coming back anyway.
Oh, okay. That's the question I wanted to ask. If you believe that heaven and hellfire are real or something. That was my question. Thank you.
You're welcome. Where's this useless guy that keeps saying that you're adding? I don't see it. Mr. Moses Bowman, you cannot be added because you don't have enough followers. TikTok does not give me the option to add you. Go and pray that Jesus should give you followers. When Jesus gives you followers, then you can come here.
You pray for it.
Ladies and gentlemen, as it sits right now, it's time for me to go. Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, for pulling up today. I'll see you guys again tomorrow, okay? We'll continue on this subject. The devil does not exist. And I know none of you, my dear religious goats, can prove that the devil exists. You know that I'm right when I say to you, the devil is just a figment of your imagination, just like your God. And we're no longer going to excuse buffoonery. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing, to help you, help yourself abandon the buffoonery. It is quite literally buffoonery. It is a mentality that is less than that of a baboon. You know what I'm saying? Even baboons don't have to think like that to live their lives. Even a maggot can't live its life without believing in God. You're already paying taxes. Is that not enough for you? Why are you punishing yourself by believing in things that don't exist? You already have to pay rent. Don't you already have too much trouble in your life? Why are you burdening yourself with imaginary stress? Use your brain. If your brain begins to work, your quality of life would improve. You won't even have to thank me, but you're welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Come on now, Abi. What did they do? This computer they can colo. So you turn yourself off. Maybe this computer is possessed by the devil. You're a useless individual, Matthew. You can't answer simple questions. You think I have time for you? Ask you yes or no question, you are repeating yourself. You think if I want to argue with someone who's repeating themselves, I'll go and talk to your computer. I'm not off tomorrow, but I'll be online. See you guys then, okay?